Now, I've lived and travelled a lot in Italy, so I decided that I was going to make my way quite quickly down to the south, picking up the ferry from Brindisi and taking me across into Greece. So good morning folks, just waking up to a great stopover actually, and it's not far from Campo Basso. So this camper stop is actually part of a huge great equestrian centre, and it's also got a really nice restaurant on it, but great for a night, really friendly people. But it was time to get back on the road down towards Brindisi. So I managed to get down past Brindisi this afternoon. I didn't really want to stay in Brindisi or close to it because it's got a bad reputation. I mean, obviously it's a big port town, but it's not got a good reputation as far as car theft and break-ins are concerned. So decided not to stay too close to the port. Came on just a few kilometres to the outskirts of a town called Lecce, and found a little camper stop amongst the olive groves, the old ancient olive groves. When I arrived there was one other van, but now I seem to be on my own. But I think it'll be fine. It's quite remote, but I'm sure it'll be fine for the night. And yeah, going to get up tomorrow. Got to be down at Brindisi for about 11 o'clock. Ferry leaves at 1. So actually getting to the port and checking in was really quite easy and straightforward. A little bit of confusion when we started to load, but it all went smoothly, and we set off on time, which was really good. Thank you. Ferry, just waiting for it to go. Should be leaving in about 10 minutes time. It's quite busy actually, quite a lot of people, a lot of trucks. The 9-hour crossing to Greece was pretty good. It was nice and smooth. The boat was quite busy. But I was quite tired, and by the time I actually arrived in Igoumenitsa, it was getting pretty late. So I left the ferry late at night and made my way through a really busy Igoumenitsa, but I was keen not to stay in Igoumenitsa for the night, so I wanted to make my way on. So I drove through the town, out the other side, up into the mountains, where I found a great place to stop. So I arrived in Greece late last night. It was about midnight by the time I got here, and I parked up a super little spot. It's actually a small car park for a cemetery, but sounds weird, but it's been really quiet. Stunning location and views. I mean, you know, if I slowly turn the camera around, you can see behind me absolutely amazing views all the way around. So say this was my first night in Greece. Went really well. Going to go to the Vikos Gorge today. There's a great lookout place, a lookout spot which looks down over the whole of the length of the gorge apparently. So I'm going to go and try and find that. Hopefully maybe find somewhere to stay tonight up in the mountains, which will be really good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to exploring Greece. While driving up through the mountains, I came to this area which they consider to be the stone forest. Really weird. Lots and lots of slabs of stone seemingly just piled on top of one another, although it's a natural phenomenon, they say. But yeah, really interesting. Climbing up through the mountains, I came across this monument to the women of Zigori. It's a monument to the women that took ammunition and supplies up to the front lines during the Greek-Italian War of 1940-41. So today I've climbed up into the mountains again, and I've come upon what looks to be an abandoned ski school. There's a sign saying parking for camper vans and motorhomes, but it really does look a bit dilapidated. I'm going to stay anyway because it's a very quiet spot. I mean, it may well be that we're not obviously in the ski season yet, but I can't imagine that this would be easy to put back into business. You can see the woodsheds are behind me. So walking around the site, I actually came to some really old skidoos, a lot of machinery that had just been left abandoned and rusting in the back area. Also there was 2 or 3 like cabins, small cabins to the side and the rear, where there was nothing but just piled with skis, old skis and everything else. So I really think it's been abandoned completely. So waking up the next morning, my plan was to go to Matura to see the monasteries high up on the cliffs, but unfortunately the weather had taken a change. After a good few days of brilliant sunshine and hot weather, it just changed. It poured with rain, the clouds came down low, visibility was down to 50 yards in places. So to get to see these beautiful monasteries wasn't going to be a possibility, certainly at this time. So it's at this point in my journey towards Turkey that things started to go wrong. Basically what happened is my last couple of days in France, and then when I came into Italy, and this is strange because it only happened in the evenings and in the mornings, I started to get attacks of vertigo where everything was started spinning and things like that. I mean, literally the van was spinning, the sky was spinning and everything else. Never experienced it before. But because it was only happening in the evenings, it was really quite strange. But I carried on, got into Greece, but the situation didn't improve. If anything, it was getting a little bit more frequent. So I managed to see a doctor, and the doctor said it could be one of a number of things, but they'd have to do tests and things like that, which obviously is going to be difficult, particularly when you're so far from home in a foreign country. So anyway, he gave me some prescription medication, which he said would probably help, but you know, he didn't think it was anything major. So anyway, I took the medication, and it seemed to ease the situation, but it didn't overcome the problem. I took the medication, a week went past, then 10 days, and still the situation was the same. Slightly easier, but it was still there, and really I was worried about, you know, what the situation would be. Because one of the problems being a solo van lifer, and the realities of that sort of being on your own, is the fact that if you get any health issues, you know, there's nobody there to drive for you or, you know, give help or whatever. And obviously from a vertigo point of view, and everything's spinning and that sort of thing, you can't drive. It's just dangerous. It's not only dangerous for me, but dangerous for other people. So my worry was that as it hadn't gone away, if it did get worse, would I be able to drive? And if I couldn't, then I'm stuck either in Greece, or if I'd have got all the way down to Turkey, I'm stuck in Turkey. So I phoned my doctor back here in the UK, and he agreed it could be one of a number of things. But again, unless tests were done, it would be difficult to say exactly. I asked him, I said, well, is it something that I need to worry about? And he said, no, you should be fine. He said, but if you should black out, or if you do fall over, then obviously we need to look at it. I don't think he appreciated where I was. I hadn't told him I was away. And that was worrying, because you certainly don't want to start falling over and that sort of thing. So I made the decision to return to the UK. I suppose the only good thing to say about it, I have been travelling in Greece and Turkey before, so it wasn't a completely lost cause, just disappointing. So I turned around, came back to the UK. I've been back here a while. It's now just into the new year. Went to the doctors, had 1 or 2 tests with the doctor in the surgery, and he then sent me on an appointment to the hospital, where they'd done some further tests with the ears, the ear, nose and throat department. They said there was nothing radically wrong. My hearing was pretty good overall. There was nothing to worry about. Now that's all gone. I'm back to 100%. Yeah, I'm pleased I came back. I'm keen to get away again, to be honest. I'm really not enjoying the cold, wet weather of the UK over the winter. It's the first time I've done that for many a year. And I wanted to try and get away in this early part of January to Spain. I wouldn't go all the way back down to Turkey or that journey, but now because of the Brexit, I've got my full 90-day allowance back again. I could actually get down to Spain. Unfortunately, because of the Omicron variant of COVID, countries are closing their borders, and one of them, of course, is France. They've closed their borders to people from the UK going in for tourist purposes. So that's not a possibility. You can't get into France at the moment. Germany's the same. I could get down to Spain if I took a ferry directly. They would let me in because I'm fully vaccinated with the booster. But unfortunately, all the ferries are booked up. I can't seem to find a place on a ferry until into February. Yesterday, I looked online to see if there was any other possibilities. I even thought of trying to get a ferry across to the Netherlands, and then from the Netherlands go down through France and cut across France. But apparently France are also stopping people from transiting the country to get from one side to the other, so that wasn't on. But I also read yesterday that there've been some talks going on in France where there is a possibility that they will ease the restrictions with regards to tourism from the UK, providing you're fully vaccinated and you're boosted and things like that. Now there's nothing definite, but it has been said that that's something that could happen within the next few days, maybe a week. And I've got friends down in Devon, so I think at the early part of next week I'm going to pop down to Devon and Cornwall, spend maybe a week there, see friends, and then hopefully by that time France will have eased the restrictions and I'll be able to get a ferry across to France and make my way down to Spain from there. Fingers crossed, we'll see. But yeah, anything to get away from this weather. I mean, last night was -6 where I am, really heavy frost, not pleasant at all. So fingers crossed that things change for the better, and I can get away very short. Thanks for watching. Join me next time when I continue my adventures.